Welcome everyone to Midnight Coffee with Faisal. And for those who are viewing us live, please shout out in the box as to where you are viewing this live stream from. Yeah. So for those who are first joining us for this round, okay, my name is Faisal. I'm an independent management consultant and a business project management coach. Yeah, that helps clients to implement solutions. Yeah, and as to why I say a business project management coach is that every time when I introduce myself as a project manager, people always have the perception that I come from construction industry or architecture or coming from the real estate developer and all those things. And they are not wrong. Yeah, they are not wrong. Basically, project management started way back during the evolution of management theory, and project management was part of the scientific management era. Yeah, scientific management era. That introduced the concept of project management within the organization. Yeah. Okay. All right. As far as project management is concerned, it's not new. Yeah, it's not new. It has been within the sphere of management for very very long time. Yeah, where a lot of companies that are managing organization or business by using the project base, they are very familiar with the concept of project management. However, for businesses that being using, not say being using, being operational based, yeah, organization that are process or operational based, that focus mainly on the BAU or business as usual, using processes within the organization. Uh, Project management is a more of an accidental profession, and it's taking the uh, backstep or sitting in the back burner of the whole organization business, yeah, business sphere. However, the most of us know that 2019, 2020, we were badly hit by a pandemic, yeah, and during the pandemic, organizations struggle to stay afloat, and they are looking at new ways, yeah, they are looking at new ways in delivering the results or the business outcome. So there are a lot of changes in the business model and all those things, and organizations are looking at a more quick way of coming out from the crisis and all those things. So because of the pandemic, yeah, organization taking the project management approach, yeah, at the center stage, yeah, moving project management to the center stage to help organization to achieve their desired business outcome. Because when you talk about achieving the business outcome, you cannot achieve, excuse me, yeah, you cannot achieve the result by doing things the old way, because during the pandemic, during the lockdown, uh, business as usual is no longer usual. Yeah, business is no longer usual. So BAU is no longer BAU. People need to come out with a quick fix way to adapt, and organization must be more agile. Yeah, agile in running their businesses. So project management provide organization with a management model, yeah, management model to complement the new desired business model. Yeah, so that's how it is, and I think everybody now, in fact, we are getting quite a number of requests for project management competency development and all those things ever since the pandemic. And they are looking at ways and means to work the new way, yeah, the new way, and also to fix what is broken that need fixing. So basically, the pandemic is also a blessing in disguise to many, yeah, because there are a lot of things that is not working, but being shelved, yeah, being not given due attention, and this pandemic has accelerated the change, yeah, so accelerated the change. So organization now no longer have a choice, but must adapt to the new way of doing things and be able to deliver the desired results, yeah. Okay, usually, yeah, usually, my midnight coffee. Usually, I will talk to ordinary people that are taking ordinary actions. However, I believe because of the new year and all those things, and a majority of the my guests, yeah, majority of my guests uh, are rather tight in their calendar, and I can appreciate that. And some of them, yeah, some of them have even requested for me to run a masterclass, similar to the one that I did in episode one. So just to read a message from a viewer is that Dr. Faisal, dear Dr. Faisal, thank you for your inspiring session. Yeah, I would, however, appreciate if we can discuss a bit more deeper the critical success factor, project critical success factors. So, thank you very much, viewers who want to be remain anonymous. And he was telling me that he's requesting me to cover the critical success factor because he's a project manager, and he would like to go into the details, a bit more details of the critical success factors. So what we'll do is that for this midnight coffee session, before I go into the masterclass, all I can say is that this week is very challenging. Yeah, this week is very challenging. Most of us at a global setting know that there are a lot of unrest occurring in a country like Kazakhstan. Yeah, I wish my family in Kazakhstan are safe, because I think today I was reading The Economist saying that Kazakhstan government is requesting for assistance from Russia as the riot. Yeah, the riot is worsening. I wish everybody well in Kazakhstan, and whatever the unrest will put to rest. Yeah, okay. And then we also have the 6th January, the anniversary of the Republican and Democrat thingy going on in United States. And I tell you, 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I was reading the cases in United States surpass a million a day. You know, I don't know how true it's true, but it's coming out from a very reliable source that the number of cases, COVID cases, is surpassed a million a day. Yeah. And I believe in European countries, some of them are exercising some lockdown and all those things. And in Malaysia, you see that the number of cases beginning to rise again. Yeah, it is alarming. And I hope we will be able to contain. Yeah, we will be able to contain the cases. So the start of 2022, yeah, I would say, because this is the, although last weekend was the New Year, so this practically, although it's the second week in the 22nd 2022 calendar, but I would say that the first week of January is can be challenging. But on the good side, yeah, on the good side, a good friend of mine, good friend of mine, Ainon, one Ainon, yeah, uh, on the 7th, yeah, on the 7th, she officially became grandma. Congratulations, one Ainun, yeah, for your first grandson, yeah, grandson. That was safely delivered, a healthy boy, yeah, that was delivered, and his name is, I'm sorry, his name is Khalif Ibrahim bin Daniel. Okay, welcome Khalif Ibrahim bin Daniel to the world, and congratulations to both parents and also grandparents. Yeah, for that. And also today is the 9th because we have passed midnight. But yesterday is my wife's birthday. It's my wife's birthday, so happy birthday to my lovely wife. May we continue be blessed, and celebrate more birthday to come. Yeah, inshallah. All right. But the celebration was. I wouldn't say it took a lower key, a lower note, because both of us, yeah, both my wife and I were have to was required to take up our booster dose today. I mean, on the 8th itself. So you imagine on her birthday, first thing in the morning, we have to go to the vaccination center. And I would say that the vaccination that I went to, because we went to two different centers. She was saying that it taking a bit too long for her side, but on my side, on my end, yeah, on my end, the vaccination went pretty well. Yeah, pretty well. Everything was well organized. I have to congratulate uh, the MKM, I mean, sorry, KKM, that means the health ministry. Yeah, I have to congratulate the health ministry and also the provider for the vaccination. They did a very good job, and I was out within less than half an hour. Yeah, so imagine coming in within half an hour. I'm all done and just waiting to be given the waiting to be given the digital set. And once that is done, off I go. It's just that uh, a lot of people are saying that the side effect of the booster dose, and true enough, yeah, true enough. mm, I am going through it. I am experiencing it. About 1 hour after the vaccination, I was really tired, really exhausted, and managed to get uh, a dose of, yeah, managed to get some sleep for about 3 hours, 3 hours sleep, just to rest, yeah, just to get sufficient rest. And now I'm feeling a bit feverish, yeah. I'm beginning to have a temperature, and what we'll do is that the show must go on. Immediately after this show, I will take the 2 tablet of paracetamol and then get myself to bed and rest. Okay, all right. So what we'll do is that let's see what we have in store for the masterclass today on project critical success factor, as requested by our viewer. So what we'll do is that let me show you the promo, and then we'll come back with the session. Welcome again, viewers. Welcome again. And as promised, the masterclass today will talk about critical success factors. Yeah, project critical success factors. And as mentioned in the previous episode, which is in episode 1, there are two parts in project success. There are two parts. One is the project itself, and the other one is the management of the project. And what we'll do is that, just to recap about what I mentioned last week, is that every one of us go to work, and when we talk to our children, our spouse, and all those things, we say that we want to go to work. Yeah, and just to recap about what we said last week, is that work is performed by people. Yeah, constrained by limited resources, because nobody have all the money all the time in the world. the work has to be planned, executed, and controlled. It's just that the work have two components. Yeah, the work have two components. One is the operations, as you can see on the screen, and operations are usually an ongoing, repetitive activities with a predetermined result, outcome, and all those things, going through all those processes and procedures, and you have an SOP for it, a standard operating procedure for it. Yeah. However, projects also another component of the work in within the organization. So you talk about project which is temporary and unique, because projects have a definite beginning and definite end, contrast with the operations where it is ongoing process. So the outcome is pretty much predictable and all those things. But in terms of project, it has a specific start and a specific end, and the result or the outcome of projects are usually unique. Unique in the sense that the product or services is different in some distinguishing way. So you can have two similar projects, but they are never the same, because the environment that you are running the project may differ. Say a similar project may be undertaken 2 years ago. Say for example, now it's 2022. You may have done the same project, similar project in 2010. Yeah, 2 years ago, or 10 years ago. But in 2022, if you were to do the same project, or 2021 or 2022, when you want to do the same project or similar project, the environment that you're operating is different. Yeah, because the business environment changed, the business landscape changed, and all those things. So this is where projects, yeah, projects more of a killing field, because there's a lot of risk and uncertainty. Unlike operations, where it's more of safe, the operations is very much safe, and the outcome is very much predictable. But when it comes to project, it's becoming like a killing field, because the outcome varies depending on the situation that you are in, and there is no SOP. Yeah, in managing the risk. Of course, there are project processes that you can use to manage your project, like those advocated by Project Management Institute or Prince 2 or Association of Project Managers UK or European Project Managers Association and all those things. So you can follow the processes, but at the end of the day, because of the risk and uncertainty, it becoming a killing field with a lot of project teams and project leaders. So in terms of the quantum, yeah, in terms of quantum, you see that traditionally operations and projects in a normal organization would be 50-50, as how it is shown in the diagram. But in a project-based environment, in the project-based organization, yeah, in the project-based organization like software delivery and software houses, IT houses, construction and all those things, all their businesses are project based. So the quantum in terms of percentage projects may take up to 70 or maybe 80% of their work, while operations may take only 20%. These operations may mean you talk about procurement processes, you talk about the legal, you talk about finance, the supporting services, HR, and all those things. Yeah, so they still need an operations to some form of a structure to support the business operation, but usually it's about 20%. Yeah, 20% as compared to the project base, which is still 80%. So this is what the situation that most of the companies are facing right now. Yeah, most of the companies facing right now is that because of the new business model, trying to find new ways of delivering the desired result. Yeah, trying to deliver the desired result. So what is happening is that because they need to uh, achieve the result, uh, they have to find new ways and means of getting things done. Yeah. So that's what project management. When we talk about work, and this is where the project management capability is getting the attention right now. Yeah. So when you talk about project management and all those things, how do we make sure that the project is successful? I'm not going to talk about the ecosystem because I've mentioned this, that you need to have a project ecosystem in the last episode. And if anyone who wants me to get into the ecosystem, please by all means shout out in the box, or you can DM me, or you can email me, and I can go into the ecosystem, yeah, of project management within the organization, because it all depends on the organization. A small organization may not have a fully well defined project management infrastructure or ecosystem, because it's going to be a blended sort of operations. But in a GLC, multinational companies with so many subsidiaries and all those things operating, you may need to have a full setup of a project management office, or we call it PMO, or you can call it program management office, PGMO, or you can call it TMO, transformation management office, to handle all those projects. And the structure must be in place so that you have similar visibility with the operations. Yeah. All right. So we've talked about work and all those things, and this is what happening in many organizations. Yeah? I mean, over the past 36 years in project environment, I have interviewed both the project owners or the senior management and the project team members with regards to their critical success factors. Yeah. And this is based on more than 680 projects database that I did personally over the 35, 36 years of my engagement in projects world. Yeah, you will see that when I ask project owners or senior management what are the critical areas in managing their projects, what make the project successful or fail, you will see that even the project owners, yeah, they will say that management support constitute 29%. So even project owners, that means the C level, you're talking about the CFO, CEO, CSO, Chief Strategy Officer, or CHRO, and all those things. They still say that management support, one of the area that is important to make a break of the project, because the senior management have to answer to the board. So if I ask the board member, they will also say management support. So I said, what is above the board? They said that is the shareholders. And the majority of the shareholders, it all depends on the company. Some of the majority shareholders, they are very vocal, and they are being the boss of the board. Yeah. And in government linked companies or government businesses, the ministry is the boss. Yeah. So everybody has somebody to report to. Everybody has a boss over them. So management support constitute, according to the C level, management support constitute 21%, 29%, excuse me, 29% of the project success or failure. The other 31% of the success or failure is organizational infrastructure. This is what I was mentioning earlier. In any organization, for your project to be successful, you have properly defined. No, you have to have a properly defined setup. Yeah, to manage the project. If you are just a small company that doesn't require what you call that, comprehensive project management office, it's okay, because it can be a blended setup with your organization. But in a big organization, you need to have an organizational infrastructure. As I said earlier, last week, yeah, you need to have a proper ecosystem to manage all the projects within the organization. If not, you are not able to get the projects completed by choice, but rather you are managing the risk, leaving it to chance, and how shall I say, trying to put off pockets of fires that is occurring at all the projects. Yeah, so you'll be firefighting rather than trying to manage everything in a very concerted effort. But the biggest problem is that I wouldn't say problem. The biggest issue in from the project owners, especially the senior management, they see that 40% of their project success is or failure is very much dependent on the team competency. Yeah, again, you see that if you have a proper project management, you want to implement a project management setup, you need to have a proper infrastructure. And having an infrastructure alone is not good enough. You need to have a capable, yeah, you need to have a able, willing, and ready team members, yeah, employees that are willing to participate, actively involved in the project, because living in the project environment, living in the project world is no joke. And I'm not here to tell you all those rosy stories about how uh, great you are will be. I mean, being involved in the project and all those things is a very demanding and challenging area that you are getting yourself into. And you have to be prepared, yeah, you have to be prepared to be accessible 24/7, yeah, 24/7. So this is something that some people may find it difficult to accept, especially post pandemic. I mean, during the pandemic, because everybody is so used to working a 9 to 5 or normal office hours and all those things, and you have normal off days and all those things, or off hours, of working hours and non-working hours. But when you start working or living in the project world, there is no such thing as non-working hours. All the hours is working hours, and there is no such thing as weekend, because you have to be accessible 24/7, because your project is clocking all the time. Yeah, it's running. There is no the work doesn't stop during the weekend. So this is where project managers, project leaders, project team members have to have the right capabilities. And I always say they must be willing to adapt, yeah, to all these changes. And the keyword is war. That means everyone must be willing, able, and ready. If you're willing, able, and not ready, then you still have issue. If you are ready, you are willing, but you are not able, then you have an issue. If you are ready, you are able, but you are not willing, you still have an issue. So these three things, war, project managers or project management, is about going to war. You must be willing, able, and ready. So these are the opinion from the project team, yeah, project owners, in terms of their opinion. But when I interview or sit down with the project team members, yeah, basically they are middle managers, executives, and staff level, working level in the project. They were saying that management support is the main cause for the project to be successful or otherwise. So they would say that 78%, which is close to 80%, is management support, while the technical issue is usually 16%. And of course they talk about environmental issues 6%, because as we go through every project, we are subjected to the same business environment, not only in terms of the economic activity or the political landscape of the country, but we also expose ourselves to the weather. And as you know, recently there's a major flood occurring in Malaysia, in specific the Klang Valley. Yeah, it's not been hit by a major flood, but unfortunately, end of last year, in closing the 2021, we were hit by massive flooding in Klang Valley. And the East Coast, as normal, will be hit by flooding because of the monsoon season almost every year. So the East Coast would be more ready than those who are in the West Coast, especially in the Klang Valley area. But all those things will affect our project, but again, it constitute a very small percentage. Yeah, it constitute a very small percentage, and majority of the success or failure of any project, very much according to the team member, is very much dependent on the management support. So you see that if I were to pull back the previous diagram, yeah, you see that the management is saying that management support and also team competency. So if you add up these two parts, if you add up these two parts, you're talking about 69%. 69% constitute of people. Yeah, 69% constitute of people. And if you look at the team members, they were saying that almost 80%. So you're talking about a very high level, uh, what you call that? Very high percentage, of project success or project failures. I wouldn't like to call it failure, but less successful is a better word, because in any project there's always learning. Yeah, so we talk about that. So you see that people is the key to project success or project failure. So once you take care of the people, then the project will take care of itself. But there are other reasons as to why a project fails. Yeah, why there are reasons as to other reasons as to why project fail. And of course, this list is not exhaustive, but these are some of the projects that was mentioned, the list of why some of the projects, and I'm just throwing it here for you to take away, and maybe to add on later. Yeah. Into your reason. So number one, there is no apparent need for project management. Yeah, this is true. This is true. Some organization, I don't know why. I've worked in this sort of organization. They want to introduce a project management. They want to introduce a project management, but there is no need for project management, because there must be a three critical condition. These three conditions must exist if you want to use project management. Number one, there must be a specific customer need. Yeah? Specific customer need. If there is no customer, then forget about using project management or process management or whatever management, because there's no customer. So who you are doing it for? There is no customer needs, there's no customer requirement, there's no customer what's called specification. So that's number one. There must be a customer. Number two, it has to be complex. Complex in the sense that it requires the mechanism of the whole organization. Everybody within all the functional areas must work together to deliver the product or services. So that means it must be complex. If functional unit, if one functional unit can do it by themselves, why have a full-blown project management? Just like what Nike is saying, just do it. So just this is what we talk about, going around doing it. If the task or assignment is complex and requires the discipline of multifunctional areas, multidisciplinary interaction, working across the organizational boundaries, yes, then it's okay to use a project management. If just one department, one unit, or one division can do it, then just do it. Don't have to worry about the full-blown PMO, TMO, whatever that you would like to put in. No need. Yeah, there's no need. So that's the second condition. It has to be complex enough for you to harness the capability of everyone within the organization. Yeah, involvement of everyone. Yeah. Number three is the constraint. Constraint. You must have constraint. If you have financial limitation, you have time limitation, you have other limitations in terms of non-negotiable deadlines. I remember Y2K way back in year 2000. I hope some of you viewers have been involved in this Y2K frenzy. They call it the Y2K frenzy. Yeah, Y2K frenzy is year 2000, and it was said that if because most of our dating system in our computers, in our database, and all those things does not use a 4-digit. It used 1990, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, right up to 1999. So when we reach the year 2000, it will be 00. all the database system and all those things will recognize it as 91900. So the frenzy is that, or the aeroplane. I remember those days people were saying that, or all those car electronics becomes won't go into full function. You will have a lot of accident, and then aeroplane that is flying with the CMS, the computerized management system, INS, inertial navigation system, and all those things will stop functioning, and aircraft will be falling from the sky and all. But so I mean, it creates a scare. Yeah, it creates a scare for a lot of people. So that means there is what we call a non-negotiable horizon, and you cannot breach that horizon. So, 31st December 1999. Yeah, 31st December 1999, 23:59 is a non-negotiable deadline. That means if you pass that deadline, you are dead. That's why they call it deadline. Yeah, it's not date, DATE. This is spelled as DEADLINE. So this is where a lot of project managers, yeah, or project management practitioners, yeah, when they say deadline, they sometimes misspelled it as a dateline. No, it is not dateline. It's a deadline. That means if you miss that deadline, you're dead. Yeah. So unless you have this sort of constraint, that means you have no negotiable constraint. That means by hook or by crook, you must finish it before that. So that means if these three conditions exist, that means you are the task is very complex. Requires that you to harness the capability of everyone within the organization. It has a specific customer requirement, specification, and all things, and you have constraint. And I believe everyone has a constraint, even if we don't have, even if we talk about what do you call it? We don't breach the horizon as what we talked about Y2K earlier. Every one of us have a time constraint. That means the deadline has to just be met, and we don't have all the money in the world. Yeah, we don't have all the money in the world. So this is where finance or money can be a constraint. Time can be a constraint. People can be a constraint in terms of resources and all things. So if only one criteria is met, you don't need a full-blown project management. You have to have all three criteria must exist. All three conditions must exist. It's an AND gate. It is not an OR gate. Complex, yeah, it's complex, customer, and constraint, the three C's. So you have to have these three C's, only then you bring in the project management. If not, forget about it. Yeah. And then not communicating. This is one of the biggest mistake in by many project managers, is that or project owners or project leaders, is that underestimating communication by the power of 10th million. So you cannot underestimate communication. You sometimes it's better for you to be over communicating. Yeah, over communicating. Of course, sometimes people may find it annoying that you keep on sending progress and all those things and communicating with them, and then some of them might turn back to you and say, come on, you said this to me last week. I understand what you want and all those things, but enough is enough. I mean, you have people who resist, but hey, as far as you're concerned, you're doing your job. You need to communicate about the project. Yeah, which in my in my training workshop or coaching and all those things, I talk about how to design a communication plan. Yeah, communication plan. Design a communication plan and executing the plan so that you have sufficient. I wouldn't say enough, because communication is never enough, but sufficient communication between all the actors in the project management. And then poor project selection. This is where sometimes in project environment, yeah, in project environment, you selected a project that doesn't have the high impact. And in a privately owned companies, it's quite easy, because you have a project review board and all those things. So you have uh, clear selection criteria. But sometimes even in big companies that I've come across is that sometimes when I ask why you do this project, they say it comes from the big boss, a directive from the big boss. So I think you guys, the viewers, you have been involved in some of these projects, and people would say that this we got no choice but to do it because this is instructed by the top. Who is the top? I don't know. So who in the top? I mean, they will use all these names, and be careful. Be careful. My advice to a lot of people is that be careful when you meet this sort of people. They come around to you because they want your talent, or they want your expertise, they want your experience, and they start selling the name, the chairman's name, the CEO name, and whatever whatever that they have. They come around. I know I've been involved in many of these what you call that, sellers. I call them sellers. They come around and said, Faisal, can you help me with this project? What is this project? Oh, no, it comes from the chairman, or this project comes from the CEO, and all these things. And I say, what on earth is happening? That sort of things, because I've been involved in many projects. So one of the things that, okay, are you sure this comes from the chairman? Yeah. Chairman said, okay, fine. Let me communicate with the chairman, asking him what actually he wants. And you see that this seller will run like the Tasmanian devil, disappear. So this is where sometimes you have to be covered as a project manager. You have people that comes, I call it merchant of top management, merchants of top management. They come around and start, just because they don't know how to do it, or they've been given or assigned and all those things, but just because they don't have the capability or competency or whatever not, instead of asking you for help directly, they start using all these the names of all those big people, so sometimes, as I said, sometimes it's true that the project is being asked by the top management to do. So sometimes this sort of project sometimes will take up resources, and usually it takes a lot of resources, because they are the priority one or priority two. It depends on how you set up the priority in your organization. Okay, that's a project selection. The other one is project manager selection. This is where sometimes, people, we say that, we have to clearly identify the right person for the project. And not everybody born expert with project management. Honestly, I started living in project world in 1984, 85. Yeah, I think it's 84. 1984, 85, I started living in the project environment. And when I was a project team member or project team leader, I was so naive. I mean, I am lost, and I don't have any clue about how to run the project. I know how to run the operations, but the minute you start doing projects, as I said, there's no SOP. It's a killing field. It's a risk, full of risk and uncertainty. So sometimes you need to give people the room to develop themselves. Yeah, number one. So you need to give people to develop themselves. So you make sure that if the person to lead the project, or project manager to lead a particular project, a new person, give them something that they can bite. Don't give something that is bigger than they can chew. Then you will be stuck with a lot of headache. Yeah, as a head of projects, or you as a boss, you will have a lot of headache, because you're sending a naive project manager. So you have to make sure the project manager is appropriate to the scope and of the project in terms of deliverables and exposure. Yeah, so that means something that is simple. Yeah, you can start with them. But the other part would be is that sometimes you know that this individual, I've met many. When I hear this particular name becoming the project managers and all those things, I would just like, what? Are you serious? Yeah. Why do you have to appoint him or her? No, we have to give people a second chance and all those things. No, it's not about not giving people a second chance. you have to give people a second chance, but you have to make sure that when you put the person there, you have to make sure that this particular person who leads the project have the integrity, have the credibility, and all those things. I mean, new technology we can learn. Yeah, new technology we can learn. As I said, there's no two projects the same. It can be similar, but it's not the same. But you have to have a high ethical values, high integrity in running the project. And I've seen people, project managers who blame their project team members, their sponsors. They even blame every Tom, Dick, and Harry except themselves when the project is not successful. So these are the people that you don't want to lead another project. It's okay to make mistakes. This is the difference between making mistakes and not being ethical. Yeah. Making mistakes, yes, you are allowed to make mistakes, but surface the mistake, come up with a solution and implement the solution. But if you don't own up the problem, you don't own up the mistakes, and then you start blaming other people, then you're killing yourself as a project manager. So the meaning to say that when you want to select a project manager, it's okay to give people a second chance. But if that particular person lack integrity, keep in repeating the same, doing the same thing, the behavior part, yeah, keep on blaming others and all those things. So I don't think that's the right person to be leading the project. So I hope you viewers can take this as a point that when you want to select a project manager, make sure that this particular project manager is of proper standing. Yeah, proper standing to do the project. And then the final part is the poor definition of the project proceedings, such as the RAA. RAA is responsibility, accountability, and authority. What are the policies involved in the project budgeting? What are the procedures involved in the procurement and all those things? What are the processes involved in all those things? So this is where your project must be part of the organizational infrastructure. If your project doesn't have a proper ecosystem, if your project doesn't have a proper ecosystem, you will face all this problem, because you will say that, what is my role, what is my responsibility? It's different, it's not in my JD or job description and all those things. So you will face a lot of challenges, yeah, in managing the people, especially in the project details, because 80% of the project or failure centered on people. And if you don't get the people right, then you will have a lot of issues facing your projects. Yeah. Okay. So meaning to say that, again, I would like to repeat, people is key to project success. So in project success, I've put it inside my description. This 10 factors that is developed by Pinto and Slevin back in 1987, and I've been using this, and I find that even though it is developed in 1987, it is still relevant until today, 2022. And I tell you, my hats off to Pinto and Slevin. And you can get their research piece from the link provided below, yeah, in the description. You can go to and read up their research piece. Of course, they don't go and give you all the questionnaires and all those things, because these are trademark of them. You have to buy their research to get all those questions and all those things for you to do it. And I was fortunate because, as I said in last episode, that I've written to them, and I want to use their CSF as part of my PhD thesis and all those things. So they are more than happy to grant me the permission to use the questionnaire, and they have shared the questionnaire and all those things with me, and then they given their opinion and all those things. Thank you very much, Pinto and Slavin, on that note. So there are 10 factors, yeah. Project mission, top management support, project schedule and plan, client consultation, personnel, technical task, client acceptance, monitoring feedback, communication, and troubleshooting. Yeah, I believe this is the one that I've mentioned in the last episode. It's the same. Pinto and Slavin, but it what I'm trying to get at is that, okay, after looking at this 10 tasks based on their assessment, based on assessment. And if, for example, you attend our if you were to attend my training program, or you you engage me as your coach and all those things, then and I will extend the questionnaire to you, and because I have the permission, and I've moved it from a form or paper based into an Excel sheet. So from an Excel sheet, you can just key in those figures, and based on the algorithm and all those things, you can see how your project is performing. So this is a sample. This is an example. Yeah, this is an example of how the project CSF, the 10 factors that being used by Pinto and Slavin. Please ignore the project performance at the bottom. That is a different session. Yeah, I can cover that in different section. But it says here is that based on the questionnaire and the way you answer the question, you will be able to assess where you are in terms of all the 10 factors compared to the benchmark. The one in blue is you. That means you yourself do it, you get your teams do it, you get the average figures, and then you can get the percentile score. Yeah, you get the percentile score. Once you have looked at your percentile score, you look at what is the benchmark. The benchmark is what is being based on his database, their database. Uh, these are most successful projects. In most of the successful projects, their scores, their percentile score is in red. So you see that factor one, project mission. If your project mission is below 80%, then you have to look at your project mission. That means you have to review, revisit your project mission. Is this what you want to do? Because your project mission will determine the scope of work that you want to do. And if your scope is off, then the whole project is going off. So you have to be very clear, almost 80%, and it's very, very, very high based on the algorithm developed by Pinto and Slavin. 80% is considered high. And you look at factor two, top management support, more than 80%. That means it's going to 90, maybe 90%, and it's confirmed because in my PhD research, management support is also one of the or play a very critical role in the hypothesis testing. Yeah, and my hypothesis was proven, and it's available in the thesis, and in my book that I have published. It's available on Amazon.com. You can get the details in there. And then you go to factor three, project schedule and plan. You see has to be have 80%. Client consultation. So always look at factor four and factor seven. So if you talk to your customers, if you don't talk to your customers, in this case, in this project, for example, their client customer consultation is 40%. Yeah, you would expect, you wouldn't expect the customer to be accepting your project because you don't talk to them. So factor four and factor seven usually play hand in hand, because the more you talk to your client, the more you talk to your customer in terms of the specification and all, the more clearer you are about the deliverables or the product or the services, and the higher the chance, the probability of your customers or client to accept your project outcome or project output. Yeah, so 4 and 7. Factor 5 is personnel. Make sure you have I wouldn't say the right people, I would say the appropriate people. Yeah, because for you to get the right people at the right time can be a challenging task. So sometimes you have a lot of negotiation that you need to do with HR and with other functional areas. Yeah, I cover this interface, people interface in projects in my corporate training or in my coaching. Yeah, I have a full blown diagram. How do you execute the interface? Yeah. Technical tasks, that means the technicalities of the task. So you need to have the technical expert to look at the technical deliveries of items. Yeah. Monitoring and feedback is one of the items that I mentioned in the last episode. Monitoring, feedback, and troubleshooting is very important. Factor 8. Factor 10 is very important because you need to continuously monitor your projects because you want the projects to complete by choice rather than by chance. Yeah. So you want it, okay, I want this project to complete by choice rather than leaving it to chance. Yeah. Factor 9 is communication. Never underestimate the power of communication. You have to communicate, and 80% of the time and effort of any project manager is communication. And when I was starting, when I was running project office before, I come in as early as 7 in the morning because people start work at 9. So I during 7 to 9 is my own time where I look at all those action items that I need to do, because from 9 onwards you will have back to back meetings, site visits, and all those things, so you will take up to about maybe 5:30 or 6. So from 6 to 7 I usually stay longer in the office, 6 to 7 or sometimes 8, to have my me time. So me time in the morning and me time in the evening to prepare for tomorrow. So these are the things that sometimes, as I said, 80% of your time and effort is about communicating. So you have to communicate with your various project stakeholders. And I mentioned this in the last episode. The stakeholder dynamics is the most, or if not one of the most important item that you need to look at. So that's how you use critical success factors. Yeah. To the viewers who sent me the email, thank you very much. And I hope this 1 hour masterclass is able to assist you in getting a bit more in-depth knowledge of the critical success factor. Always remember that you have to manage this and look at what is the benchmark, and if you are below, and focus on those things that is very low first. Yeah. So in terms of prioritization, in this case, in this scenario, factor 4 seems to be the lowest, and factor 4 has an effect on factor 7. So focus on your client first. Yeah. Sit down with them and all those things and clarify them. And the next part you might want to consider is top management support. Yeah. Top management support and all those things. So your client consultation and client customer acceptance will help you to boost up not only your scores in the factor 4 and 7, but also in terms of your factor 1, in terms of project mission, in terms of scope that you need to deliver, and able to pitch your project to your management, and you're able to also boost up your top management support. Yeah. All right. So basically, in a nutshell, when you talk about managing projects, yeah. So these are the things, especially the critical success factor. I call it project success factor because that means every projects you have to manage it. As I said, managing the project is a different ball game than the project management itself. So the success factors that I've mentioned earlier is more when you already have a project on your plate and you are running the project. Yeah. And I always advise people, for those who are using the project implementation profile that is developed by Pinto and Slevin, excuse me, developed by Pinto and Slevin, I always ask them to do various snapshots according to the project. If the project is a 2-year project, I said do it every quarter to see where you are. That means before you begin the project, see where you are, and then after a quarter, then you see where you are. The next quarter, you see where you are in terms of managing the CSF. Yeah. And by looking at, by managing the critical success factor, that's why they call it critical success factors. By managing the critical success factors, you are managing the project itself, what make it successful or otherwise. Yeah. And then by going through the profiling frequently, yeah, you are able to see where you are in terms of your project performance or your team performance with regards to the benchmark. Yeah. And you are able to prioritize which area do you need to put effort, rather than working on all the 10 factors at the same time. You are able to prioritize, like in the case that I showed earlier. We talk about task 4 and 7, which is the client and customer acceptance. All right. With that, I would like to end this masterclass. And since if you have any question and any opinion, please by all means shout out in the box. And if, for example, you want to have a more in-depth discussion with me and all those things, please you can DM me, direct message me on my Facebook and on my YouTube channel. Yeah, and I will pick it up from there. Okay, with that, thank you very much for watching the live stream. Yeah, thank you for being with us, and please, 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 the pandemic is not over. Please take care of yourself, your family, and the community that you are in. Be a responsible citizen, and let's make this pandemic more manageable, so that we are able to, I wouldn't say return, we are able to do what we are supposed to do without a lot of interruptions or disruptions, unnecessary disruption that is caused by our own ignorance. Yeah. Okay, with that, I thank you very much. Please have a blessed Sunday. I wish you a blessed Sunday and a very productive week ahead. Have fun and stay safe. Thank you very much for your viewing.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.